little time to settle. But are we seated?
Yes.
So all this, today I'm going to speak about, the topic is there, a paper in hand. All these years we have been talking about the power of kalam, right? The power of pen. But today through this session, we are going to explore, understand the power of a paper in a classroom. And that's what this session is about. And when we talk about an earlier classroom, we always speak about all the stakeholders. So we are also going to explore the possibility of using this paper as a resource in classroom by the teachers, for the students, and also at home by the parents. And all these things while keeping the learning outcomes, which many of us feel are very important, and the developmental milestones of children in hand. So how do we knit that? How are we going to knit this paper as an art form to be used in class? With all this is what we are going to explore in this session today. So when we talk about the three important stakeholders of a school, that's the teacher, the students, and our parents. So when we talk about a teacher, the teacher's role in an early year classroom is to create a learning experience which is, again, based on a learning outcome with correct developmental milestones for that age, and also create a learning environment which is conducive for the same kind of to conduct the program. It's as simple as, we did not have our food here, right? Right? We had to go to a specific place. We did go to a specific place when we wanted to freshen up. We have designed this place for you to sit and listen to this conference. So every place is designed in certain ways. So even for a teacher, when we talk about a learning experience, it's not just a plan, but the place also has to be designed for that to happen. Like yesterday when we were doing this activity, we came out of our areas because we couldn't do it. So then that was not designed for them to stand and do it. So this is how we are going to learn how these papers will be helpful to you in the classroom, not just to make it a part of their learning experience, but also to create an enriching learning environment for them. That's for the teacher. Now who's the next? Students. Now when you talk about children, of course, they love to learn by doing. So when they're involved in the learning process and when they are able to put their imagination into a creative art which they can see, then that's a different level of understanding they will have of the concept that they learn. Just the way we talk about drawing and coloring, we talk a lot about it in our early learning centers, isn't it? So when we talk about that, what is that about it that we like? That we are able to give children opportunity to bring their imagination into reality, put it on paper. So that's what this paper will also do. It will help them put their imagination into a model which they can see. So imagine the amount of satisfaction they will get when they are able to do that. And the third important stakeholder, the parent. Now parents, we have been listening to stories of parents, especially in COVID times. We have been listening to this, that they had this tough time engaging their children. And many a times we have seen children given to screens because of that. And so this paper, when we create an activity around it and send it to parents, and they do it along with children, that can also become a good engagement tool for the parent. And then when we talk about all these 21st century skills which are spoken everywhere now, the communication, collaboration, all of that will happen when they are doing that together. They are talking to their children. There's certain steps they do, there's certain steps the child will do, and then collaborate together to bring a product in the end, which will be again encouraging to them to be able to do it together. So this is the power of a paper that they will learn. Now when we talk about anything in early years, especially in an ECA conference, we will not just talk about the art of teaching. We will always talk about the science of teaching also. Why am I saying that a paper, you all know origami, there are a number of videos online. So when I bring it here or on an ECA conference, you will also be able to connect it to the learning and developmental theories of children And that's what will make you different in knowing about bringing a paper in classroom. So this is the first theory, which is constructivism. According to the theory of constructivism, children learn better when they discover knowledge. That's how we have evolved from being an early man to who we are today. We are much evolved. You look at yourself, 10 years back and now, we are much evolved, right? So this is the way that we learn better and we make ourselves better. So children also thrive on discovering knowledge, which we call curiosity if we term it that way. So when children construct something on their own, when they discover it on their own, then you are not giving that information or knowledge to them which they have to internalize. You don't have to do that. They own it on their own. And that own knowledge will be with them forever. And that's why we are talking about constructivism here. So let's give a small example here. You have papers on your table, right? I've kept 6 by 6 shaped papers on the table. Just take one of those paper, any color. So these papers are there on your table. Yeah, you can discuss together and do it. So what is the shape of this paper? You can do it individually as well. What is the shape of the paper? How many attributes does it have? How many sides? Can you fold this paper to make it a rectangle? Can you fold this paper to make it a rectangle? Can you show it to me? Your paper is square. You have to make it a rectangle. Yeah. So now, what is the difference between that square and this rectangle? Sides are not equal. Okay. Good. Now we'll go back to the square. Now can you make it into a triangle? Can you fold that paper to make a triangle? Yeah. So now what is the difference? There are 3 sides. So did I tell you what is the difference between shapes? When we are learning about shapes, 2D shapes, then we learn about attributes of the shape, that is the sides. Did I have to teach that to you? No. You discovered it yourself. Maybe after this activity, you will always remember the word attributes and the sides and how, right? So that's what constructivism talks about. So in this session, we are going to give this paper different forms and we will tell you how this will be helpful to you in classes. Now there is one art form which is used with paper that is called origami. Origami is a Japanese art. In Japanese, ori means folding and gami means paper, and that's the paper folding art, and they call it paper magic or paper transformation. Now, not just the origami, but different kinds of folds can be taken into the classrooms and can be weaved into the learning experience. So this is the first theory, which is constructivism. So what did you do now? You constructed your own knowledge, right? So that's what constructivism is about. The next theory is on the right, which is Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Now in this, using a paper in classroom can also justify the first 2 stages, that is the sensory motor and pre-operational stage. So all of you have papers on your table, and one thing which I am very sure that most of you know how to make with that paper is a boat. Yes? Can you make a boat? At least one person on each table will know how to make a boat. You made a boat? So can you just raise your boats and show me if you have made your boats? Yeah. So when we talk about this theory and the first 2 stages, the first stage says that children make a sense of the world by using their senses. That is the sense of touch, the colors that we use, sight. So when you were making it, it was a hands-on activity, right? You did it. So that somewhere justifies the first stage of development. The second stage of development says that children make sense of the world by, they understand it symbolically. So these pictures will justify that. So you're I think you all are having fun making the board. Don't want to come back to classroom now, to this hall. You want to sail away with that board? Come back. I wanted to focus on the first two pictures which are here. In the first picture, the baby is having the water. So he is holding the glass in the hand. So holding, touching. So that is the sensory motor stage. The second stage is pre-operational. What is he doing? He's given a symbol to it. This is how water looks like. Now when you have a boat with you, then you have understood that this is how a boat looks like. That's not actually a boat, but it's a symbolic representation of the boat, right? So that's how we have answered the second educational theory, that is Piaget's cognitive development theory. That's why paper is important to be brought in classroom. And the last theory, Vygotsky's theory. Now the key element of Vygotsky's theory is zone of proximal development. So which says that there is a zone which is between what a child knows to what he can do without help to what he can do with help. So when we are doing origami or when we are doing paper folding in classrooms, we can actually make certain steps. We can just take 2 steps which can be done by you, which you just did. The paper folding from a square to a rectangle and from a square to a triangle. But if you would have asked a child to do a boat on his own, it would be difficult for him to do, right? So that's a stage where he won't be able to do all on his own, he will need help. So then there are certain stages where you will take them in a little step-by-step manner. When they master the first 2 steps, then you will take them to the next 2 steps. So that's why I believe that origami or paper folding also covers this theory of development. So this is the science behind why we can bring papers or paper folding art into the classroom. And that's what I was saying. That's how our conferences will be different. You will not just understand the art of teaching, but you will also understand the science of teaching. And then, now let's come to the art of teaching. Now let's understand how to do origami. So when you talk about origami always is based on folds and creases. So you just took a paper, and when you were doing the board, you folded the paper and there were creases. So it's always dependent on folds and creases. So origami is a skill. You're not going to get it towards the end of the day today. But there's certain elements or the basis that we will put, and then we will provide you with certain knowledge, certain guidelines where you will be able to master it over time. So the first thing that you need to know is these folds. There are different kinds of folds. So when you're reading a document on origami, you will be seeing these folds. The mountain fold, the valley fold, the rolls, the pleats, and these are the symbols that they use for them. So today we were talking about neurodiversity, we were talking about symbolic representation. Autistic children understand things when they are told symbolically, not with words. So then here, origami can be one way of bringing that into the classrooms, because they will understand symbolically better. We'll go to the next one. Yes. Slide changer is with me. So when we talk about folds and lines, and you talk about any kind of an origami end product that you see, they are always based on a base. A base is the same. The first 2 or 4 steps will always be the same. That's called the base. And after that base, there will be certain 2, 4, 8 moves that will make it different from what, each one will be a different design. So today we will learn about the 2 important bases which will be helpful to you to make all the animals, to be able to help you make all the transport that we teach, vehicles that we teach. All of them are based on these 2 preliminary, 2 bases, which is called preliminary base and water bomb base. So it is based on only these 2 bases. So do you have papers on your table, right? So I am also a teacher. I will drink water and teach. So you take this paper and you will have to fold it from the corners. So like this, the two ends have to meet diagonally. Just the way you made the triangle. If you are finding it difficult to understand the instructions, let me know. I also have a video of the same. So if you have done this, open it. Now crease it properly, open it back. So this is about folds and creases in origami. You don't fold and leave it, you crease and open it. Then again, you fold it from the other side. Crease it. Open it back. Now you need to do it from the center. This is a horizontal line. Like this. A horizontal line like this. Crease it and open it. Now another side, fold it, crease it, open it. So you get a paper like this with about 6 lines. Can you see this paper now with 6 lines? If we draw it through. If you open your paper back. Yeah. You are right, 8 lines, my bad. Now you got this, right? So when you take this paper and if you take both the center together, the centers together down. This center is coming down. Similarly, put it on a hard surface and try to do it. This center will come down and in the end it will become a triangle like this. Like this. I'll show it again. This is the square. This side you will bring it down and this side you will bring it down to fold it to become a triangle. Okay, I'll come close and I'll tell you this side. Keep it like this. Keep it on the table. Take this side in and settle it down like this. This side in and the top goes down. At least one on the table could do it, right? So if you make a triangle like this, yes, she got it. You got it? She got it. So if you make a triangle, it's called a preliminary base. So if you make a triangle, it's called a preliminary base. So this preliminary base will help you make birds, butterfly, fish. All those can be made only based on this 4 steps that you did, right? Only 4 steps that you did. Do you want me to show you again? Yeah, many of you did it. I'll just do it. I'm not going to speak. I'll just show it to you again. Do you want? How many of you want it to be shown again? Then I'll share the video, just 2 or 3. Now coming to the second base. When we come to the second base, which is a water bomb base, even here the first 4 steps will be same. Take another paper now. So what did you do last? We folded it diagonally first. You have to fold it diagonally. Cross. Crease and open it. See, creating those creases is very important. Open it back. Now another diagram. Corners. The corners of the squares. Okay, when you're doing this activity in the class with a square paper, aren't you also teaching children the corners of a square and the sides of the square? Because first steps we are saying touch from corner to corner. So this is the second crease. Now open it back. Now the sides. That is the first step we can teach them. Now that rectangle can help them make something much complicated, which we will do now. So this is from side to side. Crease it and then open it back. Open it. Then again another side. So these 4 steps, always remember. Corner to corner, side to side. Now these 4 steps are always the preliminary steps of everything that you make in an origami. Now the last time what we did was, we opened this and we took the side corners of this square, right? We took the side corners in the center and our end product was in the shape of a triangle, right? But now, we are not going to take the sides inside. Now, we will actually keep your paper like this. Now keep it like this, like a diamond now. On your surface, keep it like this, like a diamond. Now take the corners and bring it down. And it will become a square. Now it will become a square. You have to take the diagonals together, the angle. Okay? It's easy.
गिफ्टेड चाइल्ड ऑलरेडी कंप्लीट करके बैठ गया.
So all of you have your squares now?
25.
Now you can convert those squares. Now these are the four steps that you do and you make the base.
50 को बंद करना है.
So do you know that this preliminary base that you just made can look like this? Can look like this. With just 2 more steps to do. Can we play the video of flower, Mansi, without the sound? So do you all have your squares with you now? Now look at that video. Without the sound. Now she will give you 2 more steps and you will be able to get that flower. Flower. Without the sound. Yes. Now with that we need to do the next steps. Video 1 flower. No sound. So if you have missed on making that square, that's the fold. So you can quickly follow if you have yet not done it. 2 sides and sides. नहीं, ये वो जो हमने कर लिया है वो बता रही है. So if anybody has missed They were saying they didn't get it. Then the diagonals, she did it. She's making the preliminary base now, which you already have. So when you're teaching or when you are also learning, first get hold of the basis. When you understand the base well, then only you go to the next stage. If you try to do everything together, you will miss all the steps. So preliminary base in water bomb base. Water bomb was triangle. And preliminary you will get a square. Now this is the step you have to follow. Fold the edge and make it look like this. This is the step you have to do now. This was your square, now you have to fold. Could you do it? So you got the flower, but you will not get it at first go. So the first 4 folds that we were trying to tell you, first master those 4 folds. Keep making the preliminary base and the water bomb base again and again and again till you master it. After you master it, there were only 2 steps. She folded it, she opened it back, create the crease and closed it together to make a flower. We'll be sharing all these videos with you. Now this kind of origami you will not be able to do initially with your students in a day, but you can use it in classrooms as your teaching resource. Now there is one more teaching resource that you can create with these papers. These are easy ones. Yeah, you got the flower. She got the flower. Please show it. She got the flower. Now how do we do animals with it? So just take this paper, fold it diagonally, make a triangle. You made a triangle? Now from the sides, I am showing you without the mic. Can you also play the video of dog and cat? Without sound. This step done. Now the bottom. So just 3 folds you did, right? Yes, from the bottom this one. Now you make the eyes here. She can look at that now. Now look at the video. That simple it was. We made it, right? Now take a pen and make the eyes and the nose. And you have your dog ready. You have pens on your table to make the dog, make the eyes and the nose. Show us your dogs. Wow! Please clap for them. Okay, your dog is smiling. Okay. So could you get the dog? So it's that simple. This kind of folds can be done with children. You can stop the video. We'll go back to the PPT. So now you've got certain things that we can make with origami. You understood what are folds. You understood what are bases. Till the time you got to a rectangle by folding it once. Right? You converted a square-shaped paper into a rectangle by folding it once. So everything that you do in a classroom has to answer the learning outcome and the developmental outcome of the child. Because children in early years are not just growing but developing. So the learning outcome will be, students will be able to understand the attributes, that is the sides and angles of a square and a triangle. Do you agree? Yes. The second developmental outcome, they were the cognitive thinking, cognition, that is thinking. They thought, how can we convert this square into a rectangle? They were thinking, they compared the sides to tell you about the attributes. So thinking, problem solving, how did they solve the problem? I give you a square, you give me a rectangle. Solve the problem. So they solved the problem to give you an answer which was a rectangle, and in the process they learned something. They learned about the attributes, which is again, how do we teach that normally in a classroom? Just give them a coloring worksheet of squares and rectangles, right? But this is the way they will be able to discover or gain the knowledge. So this is how you can use all this inside your classrooms. Even the animals that you use, you can make them into puppets and use them in rhymes. So when you are using the puppets made by your children, imagine the engagement that you will create. Give that activity to be conducted between the child and the parent at home. They make that dog and bring it to the classroom next day. So then the parent engagement and connection to classroom will also happen. So this is how we can give a form to this paper and connect it to the classrooms, creating a age-appropriate learning experience which can also be developmentally appropriate for the child. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kauser. Origami, it really is something. There's so much to this Japanese technique that can be used so multi-purposely. Thank you for this. Can we have Kauser on stage, please, to... Yes, to felicitate Kauser. I know Kauser and Kauser.
The vowel change, I and you, that's it.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause there for Kauser from Kauser.